Good morning. Welcome to Newsong Fellowship family. It's good to see all of you. I'm so glad you're here. I wish the sun was out, but you know, sometimes you get what you get and you move on. Can't have a sunny day every day or else you wouldn't appreciate them. Please feel free to stand with us this morning as we sing.
When darkness tries to roll over my bones, when sorrow comes to steal the joy I own, when brokenness and pain is all I know, I won't be shaken, I won't be shaken, 'cause my fear doesn't stand a chance when I stand in your love. My fear doesn't stand a chance when I stand in your love. My fear doesn't stand a chance when I stand in your love. Oh. Shame no longer has a place to hide. Captive to the light. I'm not afraid to leave my past behind. I won't be shaken, I won't be shaken. My fear doesn't stand a chance when I stand in your love. My fear doesn't stand a chance when I stand your love. My fear doesn't stand a chance when I stand in your love. There's power that can break off every chain. There's power that can empty out a grave. Yeah, there's resurrection power that can save. There's power in your name, power in your name. There's power that can break off every chain. There's power that can empty out a grave. Yeah. There's resurrection power that can save. Doesn't stand a chance when I stand in your love. My fear doesn't stand a chance when I stand in your love. My fear doesn't stand a chance when I stand in your love. My fear doesn't stand a chance when I stand in your love. My fear doesn't stand a chance when I stand in your love. Oh, stand in your love. I'm standing on a rock. I'm standing in your
Would you turn to someone next to you and tell them how happy you are to see them this morning? Breathe. I will sing of your goodness, I will sing of your love. Though the seasons come quickly, you have always been enough. And though the night may get darker, though the waiting seems long, you have always been faithful to remind me of your love. You are good. In the morning I'll sing. You are good. In the evening I'll sing. You are good. You are good to me. Yeah. You have always been patient. You have always been kind. You're consistent through the ages. Oh, what a friend of mine. So I'll remind my soul to bless you, standing firm upon your truth, knowing you cannot be shaken, 'cause I've seen what you can do. You are good. In the morning I'll sing. You are good. In the evening I'll sing. You are good. You are good to me. Yeah, stand with in the darkness. My God, that is who you are. You are waymaker, miracle worker, promise keeper, light in the darkness. My God, that is who you are. You are here, touching every heart. I worship you. I worship you. You are here, healing every life. I worship you. I worship you. You are here, turning lives around. I worship you. I worship you. You are here, mending every heart. I worship you. I worship you. You are waymaker, miracle worker, promise keeper, light in the darkness. My God, that is who you are. You are waymaker, miracle worker, promise keeper, light in the darkness. My God, that is who you are. 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 Even when I don't see it, you're working. Even when I don't feel it, you're working. You never stop, you never stop working. You never stop, you never stop working. Even when I don't see it, you're working. Even when I don't feel it, you're working. You never stop, you never stop working. You never stop, you never stop working. Even when I don't see it, you're working. Even when I don't feel it, you're working. You never stop, you never stop working. You never stop, you never stop working. Even when I don't see it, you're working. Even when I don't feel it, you're working. You never stop, you never stop working. You never stop, you never stop. You are waymaker, miracle worker, promise keeper, light in the darkness. My God, that is who you are. You are waymaker, miracle worker, promise keeper, light in the darkness. My God, that is who heads while I pray this prayer over you. The Lord is my shepherd. I shall not want. He makes me lie down in green pastures. He leads me beside still waters. He restores my soul. He leads me in paths of righteousness for his name's sake. And even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, because you are with me. Your rod and thy staff, they comfort me. You prepare a table before me in the presence of my enemies. You anoint my head with oil, and my cup overflows. Oh yes, surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I shall dwell in the house of the Lord forever and ever. Amen.
Good morning, Newsong family. I have some announcements, but first I just want to say, aren't we so blessed to have such a beautiful worship team that just speaks to our soul? It's so awesome. Okay, so first announcement, Granite City Breakfast has been shut down for this whole past year, and starting the 20th of this month, every 5 weeks, we are back to being able to help making to-go breakfasts. It starts at 7:45 in the morning. We need 3 to 5 volunteers. So if that's something that you're interested in signing up for and helping out with, go ahead and get a hold of Dawn, and she can help you get signed up for that. Next, really excited to announce this, Easter Jam. So we're gonna have Easter Jam. I don't know who all remembers, but last year, the kids probably remember peep jousting and the fun that we had. So this year we wanna reconnect with everyone. And there is going to be an in-person, so mark your calendars, Easter Jam at Joe Glick Park on March 28th from 5 to 7 p.m. The theme is Reconnect. And then you can bring your own picnic. Everybody bring your own picnic. And then we'll hear the Easter story and worship and play games. So if you have more questions, you can contact Christina and sign up through the Connect email. And then last but not least, Epic Weekend. So Epic Weekend, woo, is Friday, April 9th and Saturday, April 10th. The students will have the opportunity to hang out with one another and tackle the very important question of, who are you really? The theme is one of a kind, and if you have any questions, you can contact Grant through online or sign up through the Newsong app. So there you go.
Things. Water bottle. Mic. Mask. Whoa. Good morning. This is exciting. I love it. It is always good to be here, to be with you all. We are here week 4 in our Ecclesiastes series, Ecclesiastes, the wisdom of Hevel, which is a nice fun word that means senseless or fleeting. Literally, it means vapor or smoke. So we are going to start off this morning in chapter 8. I cut out the beginning of it just for the sake of time, but I'll reference it later. So, and it's good. You should read it. It's good stuff. But I want to start in chapter 8, verse 11. And I want us, as we're sort of reading, to notice how what he's really talking about is the stuff that's around him, right? It's sort of just the stuff of life, right? And this is how it starts in chapter 11. Oh, we're working today, cooking with gas. So when the sentence for a crime is not quickly carried out, people's hearts are filled with schemes to do wrong. Although a wicked person who commits 100 crimes may live a long time, I know that it will go better with God-fearing people who are reverent before God. Yet because the wicked do not fear God, it will not go well with them, and their days will not lengthen like a shadow. There is something else meaningless that occurs on earth. The righteous who get what the wicked deserve, and the wicked who get what the righteous deserve. This too, I say, is meaningless. So I commend the enjoyment of life, because there is nothing better for a person under the sun than to eat and drink and be glad. Then joy will accompany them in their work all the days of the life God has given them under the sun. When I applied my mind to know wisdom and to observe the labor that is done on earth, people getting no sleep day or night, then I saw all that God has done. No one can comprehend what goes on under the sun. Despite all their efforts to search it out, no one can discover its meaning. Even if the wise claim they know it, they cannot really comprehend it. And then he moves to verse 9, where the sort of focus shifts, and it's talking about the length of life and maybe worldview, perspective, we might say. So in chapter 9, verse 1, he says, "So I reflected on all this and concluded that the righteous and the wise and what they do are in God's hands. But no one knows whether love or hate awaits them. All share a common destiny. The righteous and the wicked, the good and the bad, the clean and the unclean, those who offer sacrifices and those who do not. As it is with the good, so with the sinful. As it is with those who take oaths, so with those who are afraid to take them. This is the misery in everything that happens under the sun. The same destiny overtakes all. The hearts of people, moreover, are full of evil, and there is madness in their hearts while they live, and afterward they join the dead. Anyone who is among the living has hope. Even a live dog is better than a dead lion. For the living, they know that they will die. But the dead know nothing. They have no further reward. And even their name is forgotten. Their love and their hate, their jealousy have long since vanished. Never again will they have a part in anything that goes on, that happens under the sun. Go, eat your food with gladness and drink your wine with a joyful heart, for God has already approved what you do. Always be clothed in white and always anoint your head with oil. Enjoy life with your spouse whom you love all the days of this Hevel life that God has given you under the sun, all your Hevel days. For this is your lot in life and in your toilsome labor under the sun. Whatever your hand finds to do, do it with all your might, for in the realm of the dead where you are going, there is neither working nor planning, nor knowledge nor wisdom. I have seen something else under the sun. The race is not to the swift, or the battle to the strong, nor does food come to the wise, or wealth to the brilliant, or favor to the learned, but time and chance happen to them all. Moreover, no one knows when their hour will come. As fish are caught in a cruel net, or birds taken in a snare, so people are trapped by miserable times that fall unexpectedly on them. Good stuff. So the short summary to this point, to summarize, because this is week 4, and we're in chapters 8 and 9, so we're building. We're going somewhere. That's nice. And so this sort of building thing, to sort of give a short summation, is that everything is fleeting, senseless, or both. So we should prioritize what actually matters to us. We should do what is good and right, because who we are becoming and our growth in wisdom depends on it. But even wisdom has its own limits, its own fleeting nature, that we need to live in the tensions, which in a way, as we're sort of reading chapters 8 and 9, it sort of sounds like we're we're ending where we started, right? It sounds almost like a circle. Everything is meaningless, and it seems to be this repeating theme. But I'm going to say that it's not so much a circle as it is a spiral. It is circular, but it has a trajectory. It's going somewhere. All this talk about fleeting, senseless, all with this backdrop, which is really important, this backdrop of he's talking about wisdom, which is, so I think what's happening here is there is, to use a phrase from Richard Rohr, it's sort of this switch to the second half of life. Richard Rohr says, the first half of life, it's a simple choice. The first half of life is spent building our sense of identity, importance, and security. What I would call the false self, and Freud might call the ego self. But inevitably you discover, often through failure or a significant loss, that your conscious self is not all of you, but only the acceptable you. You will find your real purpose and identity at a much deeper level than the positive image you present to the world. So there's more going on here than just what's happening out here, right? The stuff of life, what's he say? Our identity, a sense of identity, importance, and security. There's more going on in Ecclesiastes. This journey through the book of Ecclesiastes brings us to this moment, which I think is a turning point, a sacred tension, moment, switch that's happening from the first half of life to the second half of life. This switch from building, right, back to Ecclesiastes 2, I built all the things, all the gardens, all the buildings. I did all that. He's switching from building to embracing. Last week, the teacher, Pastor Dave said, is intentionally disrupting. He's intentionally disrupting our worldview, our notions and understandings about how the world is. So I'm a big movie guy. I love me some movies. I'm sure I'll make references to movies a handful of times this morning. Going to the movies was Michaela and I's favorite thing to do in the BC, before COVID. It was our favorite thing to do, was to go to the movies. What? And eat. The tensions, right? So, in a way, I sort of see it, it's almost like the Matrix, right? You got the red pill, where you can see, you take it and you see reality. Has anyone not seen The Matrix? You should, maybe. You take the red pill and you get to see reality, but you can take the blue pill, and Morpheus says you can take the blue pill and you wake up in your bed tomorrow and forget any of this ever happened. You can believe whatever you want. You can sort of live in the illusions of life. The teacher is writing for those who had no choice but to take the red pill. The people, as Richard Rohr would say, had that significant failure or suffering. That is who the teacher is writing for, giving them a space, giving them a path of wisdom to be able to still follow. So I think that the beef that Ecclesiastes takes with the conventional wisdom is like the wisdom that's found in Proverbs, is that what the conventional wisdom tries to do is tries to make wisdom a tool to control, a tool for control. Proverbs 1:32-33 says, "For the waywardness of the simple will kill them, and the complacency of fools will destroy them." But, this is wisdom speaking, "But whoever listens to me will live in safety and be at ease, without fear or harm." So if I seek wisdom and I live wisely, I have nothing to fear. There's nothing to be afraid of. No harm will befall me. That is a sweet deal. Who would not want that? Right? That sounds awesome. Proverbs 9, verse 11. "The fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom, and knowledge of the Holy One is understanding. Through wisdom, your days will be many, and years will be added to your life." Yo, a longer life too? I got nothing to fear, no harm, I got a long life, and I get to be wise. This sounds like the deal of the century. Who wouldn't want that? That is absolutely unbeatable, right? That sounds like the bee's knees. Now, obviously, I'm sort of poking fun a little bit, and I'm exaggerated. But I'm doing it, I'm not trying to poke fun at Proverbs. I'm trying to poke fun at myself. Because these are honest thoughts as I read verses like that, like Proverbs 1, 32, 33, and 9, 11. These are real thoughts. I think there's something honest and natural to read things like that and say, great, then I will do that. I'll work to get the wisdom. I'll control my learning so that I can deepen my awe and reverence for God so that I can gain wisdom and thereby live a longer, happier life. It treats wisdom almost like an object, right? Like something that you can just go and take and hold. Convenient. It's almost like you're Nicolas Cage and you're looking for the treasure, the Declaration of Independence or something, right? You're looking for something that you can take and stuff in your pocket. And I imagine the Grim Reaper comes by and he's like, yo, Grant, like, it's your time, man. And I reach in my pocket and I pull out like a wisdom punch card. And I'm like, no. I've got all the punches. I get an extra 5 years and a free appetizer. Like, I don't think so, right? Again, silly and exaggerated, but I think it's revealing. If not, maybe I'm just airing my own dirty laundry. Revealing that I think we all want control. We all want control in our lives, over our lives, the stuff of life, but also the length of life. In other words, if I do the right things, if I can control all this stuff of life and the length of life, then everything will be good. Then I'll have the good life. That's what I want. And I don't think anyone would say, nah, man, control, nah, that's not for me. I don't want any of that. I don't want control over my own life. But this draw towards control, which at times I think is almost even more like an obsession, is also what makes life so frustrating when it doesn't work out as simply as you do good, you get good. And like when the teacher says in chapter 8, verse 14, there is something else, whoops, that was supposed to go there. There's something else senseless that occurs on earth. Righteous men who get what the wicked deserve and wicked men who get what the righteous deserve. This too, I say, is Hevel. It's saying that, there is this sort of lack of, this disillusionment that there's any sort of romantic notions about what wisdom can and cannot offer us. Now I'm thinking about some old Western or something. I'm picturing Clint Eastwood in the saloon, whose entire purpose is just to tell you there ain't no gold in them hills. Like this is, I don't know if he's ever said that, but that's just what's coming to mind. And so that there is this common destiny even. There's this common destiny with everyone else, even with the losers, the scumbags, the traitors, the rats, the rebels. And he closes chapter 9 by saying, moreover, no one knows when their hour will come. As fish are caught in a cruel net or birds are taken in a snare, so people are trapped by evil times that fall unexpectedly upon them. Ecclesiastes doesn't try to say that wisdom will bring the good life and the things that we want. It makes easier the path towards the things that we need. It doesn't offer all the things that we want, but the things that we need. It's not about our sense of earning. There is no punch card for wisdom. And it's not about deserving either, which only just compounds it and makes it more frustrating. Because the wicked get what the righteous deserve, but the righteous get what the wicked deserve. I can't, no matter how much I try or want to, control the stuff of my life, let alone how much life I get. I can't control the traffic or whether our offer on this house will be accepted or if the chemo will get rid of all of the cancer. So I have some lighthearted examples just to show how commonplace it is for me to bump up against reality. The first example, a few weeks ago, Michaela and I ordered some Texas Roadhouse. Yes, we're going to church now, Chuck. We ordered some Texas Roadhouse, and we did the whole thing of like trying to figure out where we're going to eat and whatever. So by the time we placed the order, it was 6:30, and it was on a Tuesday. I'm not scarred by this. So we ordered it on a 6:30 on a Tuesday. We did not get our food, y'all, until 8:30. Right? Golly. Here's the problem with it. I mean, there's lots of problems with it. But here's part of the problem with it is I had a plan. I had a plan for how my night was going to go. We were going to control it. We were going to order at 6:30. We were going to pick it up at 7:30. That's a whole other thing. We're sitting in the parking lot for an hour. But we were going to get it, and we were going to go home. It's a school night. Michaela's got to get up early in the morning. We were going to go home and watch a movie, some bad movie, probably like D3 Mighty Ducks or something on Disney. But we had this plan. We had this idea. I was trying to control all these situations, but as it turns out, I can't. My plans were interrupted. We don't have time for a whole movie now. The food was still delicious, but. Or I remember one Saturday in particular, Michaela and I, we were going to go to Target. We had errands to run. So while we were at Target, we were in the parking lot. Again, I'm not scarred by it. It's not like I remember exactly where I was. We were in the parking lot, and something else came up. And it was such a bummer because I had plans. I was trying to control my Saturday. I was going to go to Target with Michaela, run the errands, and then I was going to go home, and I was just going to relax. I was just going to do nothing. It was going to be amazing. But apparently, I can't control these external situations. I can't control other people. I can't control their plans or their lives either, which is whiny. I get it. It's whiny, but I bet it's also probably relatable in some level, right? And to be fair, though, I did not voice my plans out loud, which goes to show how little control I actually have just because I want something. But then there's also the bigger plans of life that we try to control, right? The things that we maybe want kids, or we want to decide when we'll have them. Or with kids, we want to decide, we want to control for them what they'll do after high school, what college they'll go to, or what degree they'll pursue. We want them to take the family business. We want them to go into a certain profession, and then they don't. Or we have this desire to just fast forward through time, right? Just a couple years until I can retire, or a couple years until I can graduate. Or I just want to fast forward, control time, get past this hurt that I'm feeling because I can't control this hurt. And something about hurt makes me feel very aware of how out of control I actually am, and I just would rather take the blue pill. I can't control time. I want to live a long life, right? So if you want to live a long life, you eat healthy, you exercise. You can't control whether you inherit heart disease. We can't control. We can't control any of that. And it couldn't just be that Texas Roadhouse was understaffed and that it was a moderate annoyance. It had to be that it was a personal offense, that it was an assault on my control and my plans. It's easy, natural, even I think it has its place to focus on all the stuff around us, the exterior stuff of life, the vapor of life, our circumstances, the things happening around us. But beneath that, beneath the focus, is oftentimes ultimately just a dependency on control. The things, I think about the things that rear up when we sort of have our sense of control threatened. I think common ones are probably fear, shame, anger, right? At least that's a personal big three. It looks like controlling circumstances, controlling outcomes, controlling perceptions, sometimes even trying to control people, right? How can I control my sense of security? How can I control the fact that I want to feel secure? I've been hurt in relationships before. I've been hurt in business before. I've been hurt in church before. I don't want that again. So I'm gonna take control and keep everyone at a distance, take no risks, show no vulnerability. Or I'm afraid to speak out against this unfair practice or procedure at work. I'm afraid I'll lose my job. I'm afraid that if I say I'm sorry, I'll look like I'm admitting wrong. I'm afraid of feeling shame if people knew how much I actually struggle with my faith. So I'll just control, make sure nobody ever knows. Will I still have friends if they knew this about me? So what I'll do is I'll control. I'll control how everyone sees me, so they don't see the fraud that I actually am. I'll control the trajectory of my children's lives because the world is a scary place, and I don't know what will happen to them if I don't. I'll dominate all the conversations. I'll steer the meetings in the direction that I want them to go because I have something to prove. It's easy to get so wrapped up in our dependency on control, even that it also dips into how we start to view God and our relationship with God. It makes me want to honestly read things like the Psalms that we read earlier as this pathway to control the outcome of life, to make sure that it's good and that it's long and that it's free of fear and harm. But, I also know enough to not say out loud that if I read and pray and meditate and tithe a certain amount, that God will favor me. But I still have this sneaking sort of suspicion that if I just do more, then God will favor me, then I can get what I want. But the teacher in Ecclesiastes, he's so grounded, right? He's this good, grounding reminder that life and faith, they're not a system of merit. He says, the race is not to the swift, or the battle to the strong, nor does food come to the wise, or wealth to the brilliant, or favor to the learned, but time and chance happen to them all. He's steering away from any notion that God is just giving good things to good, deserving people and bad things to bad, deserving people. Time and chance happen to all. Stuff happens. That's the censored version, right? He's just saying stuff happens. Time and chance, it just happens to all. But the teacher's wisdom way is an alternative. It's an alternative to our dependency on control. He's seeing and he's teaching that wisdom makes the life or the journey of life better, but it promises nothing material, nothing vapor. The aim has to be different. It has to be a different focus, something more substantive than just the stuff of vapor, something richer than just control. But not enriching in the sense of quantity, but in quality. In verse 12, I know that it will go better for those who live in awe and reverence of God. Not that they'll get all the stuff they want, just that life will go better. I really like how Jesus said it in the Message paraphrase. He says, anyone who intends to come with me has to let me lead. You're not in the driver's seat, I am. Don't run from suffering, embrace it. Follow me and I'll show you how. Self-help is no help at all. Self-sacrifice is the way, my way, to finding yourself, your true self. This wisdom way in Ecclesiastes alternative, it knocks down all the external control stuff, right? It's that red pill of realizing that we're not actually in the driver's seat anyway. And what's left, once we let go of all the external control stuff, is the blessing of getting to focus and take care of the inside stuff. It's the blessing to be able to focus on the interior life. Here in chapters 8 and 9, Ecclesiastes, has taken that Richard Rohr shift, and it's come to terms with that external control. Wow, man, that stuff is impossible. I can't control any of this stuff that's happening out here. The stuff of life and how much of it we get, it's all outside of our grasp. But between those lines of knocking down all the external stuff, he's giving this invitation to care about the interior life. Right, I said a couple weeks ago that Ecclesiastes is the scorched earth approach to wisdom. He's knocking down, he's getting rid of all of these other options. And for us to say, okay, so what's left? He's tearing down these illusions of control, and he's leaving only the reality of internal control. There's this certain interior freedom that comes when we realize that time and chance happen to us all. That some things are just out of our control. Some things just don't make a lick of sense. And if we view it the right way, that's good news. We can get off the hamster wheel. Bad things are not divine punishment. Good things are not this divine reward and this sort of like 100% guarantee or your money back kind of way. As far as control goes, interior life, the interior life is really the only thing that we can control. The only thing that we can control. I can only control what I set my heart on, what I focus my mind and attention to. I can only control my thoughts, my emotions that I give the airtime to. In other words, it's the only thing that we can control is our heart, soul, mind, and strength. Jesus wouldn't have told us to love the Lord with our heart, soul, mind, and strength if he didn't mean that we could love the Lord with all our heart, soul, mind, and strength. That's the stuff that we can control. That's what we come back to. And, let me just say, I was not having a good time controlling my thoughts and emotions at Texas Roadhouse that night. I didn't say anything mean. I didn't say anything to them at all, but I said a lot to Michaela. Right? My thoughts, my emotions, I was not doing a good job. I was big angry, right? But what an interior life does is that it changes who we are and who we're becoming. It doesn't shame us when we get mad at Texas Roadhouse, but it reminds us of how we actually want to be. It gently comes back and says, hey man, you were mad. You should probably make fun of that on a Sunday morning. You don't want to be like that. It's spiritual reformation, when the wisdom beyond wisdom makes its home in our interior lives, within our heart, our soul, our mind, and our strength, then we bear good fruit, the fruit of the Spirit at work in us and through us. Peace and patience can begin to take the place of our dependency of control over things like that make us feel anxious or fearful, or threaten our sense of security. Those can be replaced with a sense of peace and patience. Joy and gentleness can replace our control over image and perception. Love and kindness can replace self-reliance. So maybe the first step of recognizing how much our dependency on control of all these external things is to realize that actually it does the opposite of what we want it to. Jesus says that when you try to save your life, you lose it. But whenever you surrender your life to me, you'll find it. When we focus on just control, it does the opposite of what we want. It makes us, when we try to control our situations that stress us out, it actually makes us more stressed, I think. It makes us more anxious. I think it strains our relationships. This insistence from the teacher on the interior life is why I think he begins chapter 8, the part that we skipped where he does. And he's talking about a king, and he says, basically, a king's going to do what a king's going to do. You can't control a king's decisions or their actions, but you can control what you say, what you do, and the wisdom to know when to say it and do it. You can't control that. You can't control the king, but you can control how you respond. Or like how we started, we can't control a judge's verdict, but we can control our own personal commitment to doing what's right. We can't control the weather, but we can interrupt our negative thoughts about the rain and say, you know what, the rain too belongs. That this rest, I had control, I was trying to have all these plans, do all these things, but this rain kind of puts a damper on all that. I can't do any of that anymore. And maybe this rest that it's forcing me to have also belongs. I can't control any of the vapor in life. And in chapter 9, he's saying I can't control how much vapor of life I get. But I can control what I do with the hope that is alive within me. Because even a living dog is better than a dead lion. I can't control the value that other people's give me. But I can choose to see myself as having infinite worth. Despite my own internal messages, despite what other people say or don't say, despite what people validate or don't validate. And what it's getting at is that every external is an invitation to posture our internal lives towards God. Every external is an invitation to posture our internal. Every external thing is a launching pad for my internal posture. The teacher's wisdom leads us to look through the stuff of vapor, the stuff we want to control, in order to abide in God, to rest in God. That is, to make in ourselves a warm, inviting, and hospitable place for God to come and dwell, bearing and bringing the fruit of His Spirit to our table, pouring out His grace and strength to us and through us. It's easy to think about God as being external, being out there somewhere. So God's table, to abide in God, we got to go somewhere else. We got to control the situations to figure out where God actually is. Got to get to that table. Maybe got to earn our seat at it. We got to pray hard enough. But none of that is necessary. That's not real. We don't need any of that. We don't need to go and find some other table out there. I think the wisdom beyond wisdom invites us to look inward. Go, eat your food with gladness, and drink your wine with a joyful heart, for it is now that God favors what you do. Always be clothed in white. Always anoint your head with oil, right? Respect, love, care for yourself. Enjoy life with your spouse whom you love all the days of this fleeting life that God has given you under the sun, all your fleeting days. For this is your lot in life and in your toilsome labor under the sun. Whatever your hand finds to do, do it with all your might. For in the grave where you are going, there is neither working nor planning nor knowledge nor wisdom. Eat your food. Drink your wine. Enjoy your life. God is coming to your table. Jesus said, anyone who loves me will obey my teaching. My Father will love them, and we will come to them and make our home in them. That God meets us, that God is meeting you in the everyday, making His home within you. The good news is that we don't have to control anything external. We can only control our internal posture just to see it. To see it, that God has chosen to make His home with us. So ultimately, the teacher's teaching in these chapters that wisdom is not an end in itself. Wisdom is a tool or a signpost, a GPS that marks the path towards encounters with God's presence, towards Emmanuel, God with us. A sign that sees every external thing as an opportunity to encounter God. The wisdom beyond wisdom is a shift in perspective, allowing us to not just look at the stuff of vapor, but to look at the God who created all things through the vapor, who chooses to come and dwell, to make his home with us. The wisdom makes the journey of life better, but it promises nothing vapor. It promises not what we want, but what we need. It aids us as a travel companion back home, back to the place where God has already pulled up a chair, back to the place where we can rest and abide in God and discover again and again and again and again that God has chosen to make his home here. To make his home here. In that place, all our strategies for ultimate control are slowly unlearned, washed away in grace. The teacher's way of wisdom is an alternative to our tireless dependency on control. Let's pray. I'd like to pray a prayer from Ephesians 3, given to us by Paul. For this reason, I kneel before the Father, from whom every family in heaven and on earth derives its name. I pray that out of his glorious riches, he may strengthen you with power through his Spirit in your inner being, so that Christ may dwell in your hearts through faith. And I pray that you, being rooted and established in love, may have power, together with all the Lord's holy people, to grasp how wide and long and high and deep, how inescapable is the love of Christ, and to know this love that surpasses knowledge, that you may be filled to the measure of all the fullness of God. Now to him who is able to do immeasurably more than all we ask or imagine, according to his power that is at work within us, to him be glory in the church and in Christ Jesus throughout all generations, forever and ever. Amen. Well, if you came prepared to worship and giving, we have joy boxes around the walls and online at Newsong, joybox.com. Peace and presence. See you next Sunday.